Hey, what's up, guys? It's me again, Christian Rodriguez, and today I am going to talk to you guys about um, about actually spotting envy, right? So what I learned about spotting envy, right? So I made a video about talking more about envy itself, right? But I want to talk about now how do you spot it, right? Like because it's not the easiest thing to spot, right? It's not something that you just see someone and you're like, oh, that person's envious. Like it's very subtle, and many times it's so easy to not spot it, not see it, right? You don't really you can't tell if someone's envious of you, right? You don't just People don't just outright say it. It's not always overt. It's not always obvious. It hides in plain sight, right? But based on the laws of human nature, right? It's there, as I mentioned before, and it's something that you have to like learn. And this book like talks about how to spot envy, right? And one of the ways, right, is the micro expressions, right? That's what I learned in this book, right? The micro expressions don't lie. So as I've mentioned this, I think you we all wear masks, right? All social masks, so we're more like socially acceptable, right? And obviously with the micro expressions, right? They happen with envy. It's usually like half a second. It's like very you have to be willing. You have to be able to spot it. It's very easy to miss, right? And this happens more often than you think it does, right? And that's the thing. You might tell someone, "I got a promotion. I got a promotion at a job," right? And they might have like for a second like have like a pissed look for like half a second, and then smile and be like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" And because they put their mask on, right? That might be a sign of envy. That might be a sign of, okay, they're not actually happy for me because they just showed their first reaction was anger, or like, yeah, or agitation, right? Like they're not genuinely happy for you, right? And then, or maybe you tell someone, "Oh, I didn't I tried my business, but I just, like I failed in my business." And what do? Maybe they smile for a brief second. They're happy for like half a second, and then they're sad and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry to hear about that." But in reality, they were like super happy that you failed, right? Like stuff like that. Like get good at reading the micro expressions, right? Once you read it, you won't unsee it. I've I've had a friend that I kept my distance from because of that. Because I spotted it and I couldn't unsee it after I saw it, right? So King Louis the 14th from France, he was the master at exploiting this. He would walk into rooms. He would walk into rooms full of people, like the people working for him, right? Like the dukes and all the others. He would walk in a room full of people, right? And no one would expect him. Like there was no announcement of him showing up, and he would quietly walk into the room and surprise everyone, right? And he had a reason for doing that. He did that because he wanted to exploit the micro expression. He wanted to see who was actually loyal to him, or who was out there to get him, or who wanted him to fail, right? And he was able to spot it before they even realized that they showed that face. That's the power of it, right? I remember once so personal example with me. I remember once I told a friend, um I have a friend that lives in Stamford, right, Connecticut, at the time, right? And I remember I told a friend, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna move to New York City," right? And I saw his face do that and then get back to normal. It almost like went to slow motion because I spotted it, and I remember seeing it. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and I just said, "I'm gonna keep my distance from him. I'm not gonna associate with him anymore because this is he's already showed signs of envy before that, so I was already in high alert. But once he showed that, I was like, this is not going to end. It's only going to get worse if I stay around him. So I haven't seen them since then, because it just has to be like that, right? So the next one is poisonous praise, right? So it's not the most. This one's actually not obvious. It's very subtle. It's usually a compliment, right? It usually goes in a frame of some sort of compliment, right? So the thing is, a compliment could have some sort of like undertone. It could be like an undertone of like condescending. So it's like a compliment, but then it's like kind of like it's almost like belittling, or basically it's a backhanded compliment. Just think of it that way, right? So maybe you had some business success. I'm not even gonna make it big, but like say supposedly you finally reach 5K a month, right? Because you just quit your job. You recently quit your job and you just reached your 5K a month. So now you don't even need to rely on a job. And you're happy and you tell someone about it, right? You tell someone close to you about it. And maybe they say something like, "Oh, that's nice. I never thought you'd be capable of doing that." Or "That's nice. I never thought you'd be able to do that." Like something like that. Like it sounds like a compliment, but then it also sounds like an insult at the same time, right? Like I had a friend once, because obviously I'm in good shape. I remember I had a friend once tell me that I had he complimented me, but it sounded a lot like an insult. He said I had retard strength, and I was like, that sounds. At the time, I was like, okay, I was like, thank you for the compliment. And then I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was just like, that sounded. Why do you have to say it like that? And then looking back at it like now or like years later, I was like, oh, he it was envy. It was just envy that I was strong, and he didn't like the fact that I was strong. So he knew it, so he gave me the compliment, but he had to give me some sort of backhanded compliment, right? So you just have to really watch out for that. It's very subtle. It's something that many people won't say anything, right? You'll get comments like this often, right? You might get comments like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd be able to do it," and you got to read the tone. Sometimes it's the tone more than the words. Sometimes it's both, but you really have to like watch out for it. Awesome. So the next one is going to be gossiping about someone and their accomplishments behind their back, right? So I would say back in high school, I went to school with like I would say these rich kids, these kids who were like came from like good families, right? And the school like there was like a competition on who went to like a nicer school, a better school. I was not a great student, so I definitely wasn't going to any of those great schools. But I remember I would overhear like people gossip about each other. And I remember one of the girls said she wanted to go to UCLA, right? It's a pretty good school. It's in LA in California. And one of the guys, I remember one of the kids was like, "Oh, she's not smart enough to go to UCLA. She should." She's like, "Oh, she wants to go to UCLA. She's too dumb to be going to UCLA. Her grades are blah, 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 blah," right." But in reality, right? That's like I was in high school, and obviously, I thought that was mean for him to say that. But like looking at it now, that's just straight up envy. Because who knows? Maybe that was her dream school. Maybe UCLA. Maybe she wanted to experience living in Southern California, and we were in New York, right, in the winter. Maybe she was picturing palm trees, right? So it just sounded very demeaning. Like he was like focus. He was like judging her, like gossiping about her, like talking about how dumb she was to other people, and it was just it wasn't at the time. I didn't really think about it because when you're a kid, you're naive and you overlook these things more often. But as an adult, like you see it and you're just like, oh, that's straight up envy. Because why is he focused on her? He should be focused on himself. He should not really be caring about what she does. He should be caring about what he does, right? So that's a really key one. And then the last one, right? And it's passive aggressive mocking, right? So it's joking at your expense. In other words. So say you start. So for example, like I say like you decide to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Because you want to start, you want to become more physically capable. You want to get good at. You want to know a combat sport. You want to know a martial art, so you can defend yourself one day, right? Or you want to get in shape too. So you go, and maybe your friends ask to hang out. You're like, oh, I can't. I'm doing jujitsu now, so I've been super busy, right? So you have jujitsu. You finally go see your friends, and maybe your friend's like, oh, okay, Bruce Lee, or like they'll give you some like backhanded comment, like they're joking at your expense, like, all right, Bruce Lee, or maybe you want to work on your business, and yeah, you're working on a new business, or you're working on some sort of venture, and they tell you, oh, you think you're Elon Musk now, or you start posting content on social media, and they're like, oh, okay, Mr. Influencer, like these comments don't really sound like much, but they have undertones of envy and just straight up salt. They have undertones of just like I secretly I secretly envy you because I don't have the guts to do it. So I'm gonna try to pull you down. Right? That's really what it means. And the thing is, these are super dangerous because they're often disguised as innocent jokes, right? So other people may think they're jokes, but deep down you know it's not a joke. Deep down you know there's something wrong with that. You know that's you friends we sometimes we shoot the shits with each other, right? We banter with each other, right? And I seriously think we all deep inside know the difference between banter and an envious passive aggressive joke. You can feel it. You know the difference. Just trust me. I've experienced this with friends. People at least I thought were my friends. And you know the difference between straight up banter that you're laughing and it's fun to straight up envy. So just be really careful and look out for it. So yeah, but make sure you spot these four signs. This will definitely help you out with envy. This will help you out with spotting it. It's it's not it's not the most pleasant thing to deal with. It's not the most, but it's out there. Everyone has it. So, but if you spot these, there's definitely more. But these four signs right here will definitely help you spot envy in their tracks. And if you want to learn more about it, I highly recommend you just read the Laws of Human Nature, because the Laws of Human Nature gets really in depth on envy. So, but yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys there. Thank you guys so much, and I hope, well, subscribe and take care.